David Clifford, educator, 19 years, shop teacher for 16 of those years, a metal shop teacher, ran the shop program up at Lick-Wilmerding High School, left Lick to co-found the East Bay School for Boys as a feminist act where we embed innovation, social-emotional learning, and equity social justice everywhere. Then left East Bay School for Boys to become a fellow at Stanford to mess with education. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. All right, Design School X does not exist yet, but it's a new high school for a new world, inspiring humanity rather than managing it. The original intent of high school was to manage humanity for that particular world. So let me ask you some questions. What if I told you that teachers at DSX made between $77,000 and $125,000? What if I told you, kind of awesome, what if I told you that teachers had 50-hour weeks with no take-home work, that a third of their job was to take care of themselves and hone their craft, a third of their jobs was to design and collaborate with other educators and adults in the room, and a third of their job was then to mentor, care, and catalyze the awesome in kids, okay? What if I told you that kids actually at DSX trusted the adults, that we had their back? What if I told you that kids at DSX came from the hills, and kids, they came from the flats, and they learned side by side, knowing that they needed each other's awesome in order to succeed? That they lived in a truly integrated learning experience and environment, not segregated spaces, which exist to this day. Whether you're private, whether you're a large public with small academies, we still live in a deeply segregated school system, right? I forgot to tell you, I hated school, right? And yet I survived because I'm the beneficiary of all of the systems, because it was designed by people that look like me, okay? Here's the problem. The traditional school model is creating I-shaped students. The head is detached from the body. It's linear. The body doesn't matter, right? And it's just focusing on the left hemisphere of the brain, okay? This is the equation of the traditional model. Student achievement and success is really the teacher plus academics over you just need to work hard. If you're not working hard enough, that's why you're failing, plus NT, which is new technology. And whether that's a lathe from 100 years ago, the computer from the 80s, personalized learning today, the web, right? They're all trying to put a new coat of lacquer on the same old Hyundai, right? Fundamentally, we need to reimagine how we see students and all of the capacity that they bring into the room, okay? Because even kids who are successful in school, by focusing on the left hemisphere, they start to identify their worth based on what we are valuing in school. So we need to redefine success in the purpose of school. So what ends up happening is we create, as Gavin was talking about, these factory workers, right? And this is, oh, you had a really awesome term for it. These are the opportunity gaps. You had something else, right? And that's where all the magic is happening, yet our kids are not designed to think within that magic. So we have excellent sheep and zombies. So in order to reimagine what high school looked like, I had to imagine that there was a zombie apocalypse. You get rid of all assumptions of what high school could look like, and you build from there, from a place of innovation and equity. And if you do that with the current landscape of our world, it looks really different, because we don't know what the outcome is. So I, as a fellow at Stanford, I'll go back, I got to play. If schools are a human system, right, you need to use human-centered design to play with it. I have some of my stars here in there. So I opened up a couple pop-up high schools to test some assumptions. And I found that at root, all humans want a sense of belonging and becoming. They want to belong to a family, to a learning environment, to any environment, to a culture, to feel safe, to have the courage to learn, and they want to become. They want to become more than what schools are allowing them to be, okay? Even teachers, right? So here's my equation. It looks totally dope. I'm not gonna go into it, but this is the equation for belonging and becoming, and it can happen in any school. I'll get to all those later. Okay, and we do this in our admissions. We want to be public. We can't, because we are innovating in such a radical way. We can't be beholden to known outcomes which charters and public schools are already stating we need to meet. So we have to start private, knowing that we want to be public. All of our kids, we ask about their stories, who they are, what they're bringing to the table. We do not look at grades or transcripts until after they get in. Okay? And again, more tests that we ran, getting kids to share and reflect on their stories. And what ends up happening, what emerges, is a new kind of kid. So instead of that I-shaped linear kid, you have an X-shaped kid, right? So their foundation is in their story. Every one of you has a story that's your truth that nobody can take away. Schools do not care about your story, right? DSX does, and schools should, right? Foundation in your strengths. Oh, I got 2 minutes. That's awesome. And then your intrinsic strengths. And those give you the foundation to develop new skills, to actually find a stance, right? Your passion, what you believe in, and then to have a purpose. Come on, baby. Okay, this is what a portfolio could look like. I'll skip that. If you redesign how you see students, you have to redesign the teacher, right? Our teachers are healthy, they're seen as designers, they are collaborators, and they are mentors. Okay, they work one-on-one, they work in collaborative teams. And you need to be healthy, you need to be a designer, you need to collaborate, and you need a mentor if you want to raise healthy X-shaped kids. Okay, and you need to do it with a network, period. Your schedule, a school schedule, is a manifestation of your values. And so here in the green area is the part where you learn all the magical skills for the unknown, right? Creativity, collaboration, community. This is what a schedule could look like. People are talking about STEAM. I'm talking STEAMs, right? Where it's storytelling, cultural competency, and character development. History. You cannot have STEAM without history in the context in which everything is being designed. Engineering, arts, maths, and self-awareness. 14 seconds. If you redesign how you see students, you redesign the teacher, you must redesign the classroom, as Gever was talking about. At DSX, all our students, using design thinking, engineering, cultural competency, will design and build their space. And we're going to start in Oakland and then take over the world. And so instead of having I-shaped towers, you have X-shaped rhizomes that take over and are connected always.